Greetings, beautiful earthlings. My name is Star. If you are new here, I don't know how you found me, but I am super glad you did. And if you are returning, y'all, the real MVP, you already know. So if you guys are new to my channel, I would not suggest starting with this video because there are a few that are kind of precursors to this, but I mean, do as you please. I'm sure you can catch up on the way. And if you guys are wondering what's up with my background, I know it's different. I did just shoot my birthday video, so I had my festive background back here, and I don't want to take it down because it's already put up there and I've got things to do today, so I'm just gonna leave it. It's fine, we'll deal with it. But let's go ahead and get our drink of coffee, friends. As you can tell, it's very early in the morning and I'm very wired on coffee, so join me. And I thought that this would be a fun video to do, not necessarily a fun video to watch, but a fun video to do just for my sake, to get it out of my brain, because a lot of people have been asking me about the difference between knockoff decks and normal tarot decks, and if there's a difference between energy and readings and things like that. So I do have knockoff decks. If you guys have been following me for a while, you know that I did accidentally buy some knockoffs. I did get the Lightseer's Tarot, the Oracle of the Mermaids, and the Work Your Light Oracle, and those were all knockoffs. And I had initially said that they didn't work the same and that, you know, you can't really vibe with them. And that was kind of just my way of trying to keep people from getting knockoffs, because I feel like you should support the person who put all of that time and energy into making the deck, and really support them by buying the actual deck. Buying knockoffs is kind of like burning DVDs. Like, you're not really supporting the people who put the time and the effort into it, but I mean, you're gonna do what you're gonna do. So I wanted to do a quick update because, as you guys know, I have gotten the real Work Your Light Oracle and the real Oracle of the Mermaids in that time, but I still have not gotten the real Lightseer's Tarot. So my Lightseer's Tarot is still a knockoff. So I'm gonna go ahead and show that to you guys here. I do have this one. So this is a lot smaller, I do believe, than the original one. Still very beautiful, still very great. It is the thinnest cardstock I've ever had though, and I will put the video that I initially did reviewing this spoof deck down there for you guys. But this is one of my favorite decks by far out of all of the decks that I have. I have almost 20 decks, and this Lightseer's Tarot is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, imagery wise. I don't mean bonding wise, because I do have a best friend deck. You guys already know that's actually my Centennial Enigma, and we are very, very, very close. I don't know why we bonded so well, but we did, and that is my best friend through and through. So this deck, imagery-wise, is my favorite, though. This really, really resonated with me from the second that I saw it. I knew that I had to have it. It's such beautiful imagery, you guys. And my aunt actually got the real one, and I was low-key throwing a huge fit when she got it and I didn't, because this is my favorite deck. But I did get the real Modern Witch and she got the knockoff Modern Witch, so I feel like that's kind of fair, because she resonates a lot with the Modern Witch and I resonate a lot with the Lightseers, and we both have the opposite of which one we wanted. So it's very funny that that happened, but I've been asking her for pictures because I'm like, I really want to see what this book looks like. I want to see what the box looks like. You guys know I am a big packaging person. I am a big review person. So I am, you know, not having a book for this deck, not having a box really hurt my heart, really upset me, because I mean, that's a big part of what I do here, is review tarot decks for that packaging. So I wanted to let you guys know there is kind of a difference between the knockoff decks and the regular decks, not just in the quality of the decks and the cardstock and, you know, clearly the packaging, but the question that I get all the time is there a big difference? And like I had already said, I always say yes, and that's because I want people to get the real deck. I know it's an extra $5 or $10, and you might not have that, and you just really want this deck, and you know, the knockoff is sitting there and tempting you, and you really want to get it, and you're like, well, maybe I can get the real one down the line. But the reason that I say not to do that is because if you do bond with the knockoff, you're not really going to get that more expensive one down the line, you know what I mean? So I have quarrels with the knockoff situation in my heart because I feel like that support should go to the person that made the deck instead of the person who photocopied it and gave you a knockoff deck. And it really bothers me that knockoff tarot decks exist. I didn't even know that was a thing because, come on, you guys, you know what I mean? Like, but anyways, for the sake of answering the question, no, there is not a difference between the energy that you get and the readings that you get. So I have actually been using this knockoff deck a whole lot lately, trying my best to bond with it because I could not get a bond with it to begin with. And I think that's because I initially started off with that block in my head, like, this is not the real deck. I don't want to bond with it. I want to get the real one. So I think that that might have just been a block within myself that was keeping me from bonding with those decks. The Oracle decks, however, I do feel needed to be the real decks because you need that book, like, desperately. And the whole PDF book situation bothers me. I have way too much stuff on my phone to try to keep going back to a PDF to look up definitions. So, that's why I really, really wanted those real versions of the Oracle deck so that I had that book on hand. Plus, the real cards are just so much more beautiful. So, I am gonna say, if you guys ever find yourself in a position where a knockoff deck is, look at how beautiful these cards are. If a knockoff deck is ever put in your face, and you are tempted because it is $10 versus $25, and you really want it, and you don't have $25, and you can't wait, and for some reason you just cannot wait to get that real deck, the knockoff deck will still work for you the same way. And we also have people who have printed PDF versions of the decks and cut them and put them on cardboard or whatever and laminated them and made their own decks, and they work just as well. Okay, so I know that my whole thing is more personal. I more want that money to go to the person who did it, and look at that. I know that's the Tower card, but, like, look at how beautiful this Tower card is. It doesn't make you so worried, you know? But I'm one of those people that really believes that you should support your friends. You know, when your friends are doing artistic things, you should buy from them. When your friends have a band, you should buy tickets and buy their merch. You know, I'm one of those, like, support your friends, pay for their stuff type of person. So that's why I believe so wholeheartedly in paying for the real decks. And I do still plan on getting the real Lightseers Tarot because I feel so bad about buying the knockoff Lightseers Tarot. But I want you guys to know that I have had to overly bond with this deck. Look at how beautiful these cards are, though. I want to use this deck so bad because this is just so beautiful. So I've kind of had to accept the fact that I've gotten a knockoff deck, and this is what I've got to work with for now until the money falls into my lap and I have the extra to be able to get a new one, right? So I've had to swallow that very giant pill and just deal with it and bond with it as if it was a normal deck. So I let it go that I messed up and I bought a knockoff and that I can't get the real one for the time being, you know. So I have been bonding with this deck, but I want to say that I have had to do way more to bond with this deck than I have with other decks. Other decks, all I have to do is shuffle through them, talk to them, and a lot of shuffling through them in the first couple of days is enough to bond with them. But this one was not, oh, look how cute. This one, it was not enough to bond with just by shuffling. I still could very faintly hear this deck. I couldn't hear it as loudly as the others. So I have been sleeping with this deck, as a lot of people will tell you you're supposed to do with your first deck. I never did that. I thought that was super weird. And I'm kind of the princess in the pea, where if there's something under my pillow, I can't sleep and it's giving me a big headache, right? But I have been sleeping with this deck underneath my pillow. I will pull it out every day and shuffle it and talk to it and try to bond with it and shuffle it as much as I possibly can and sleep with it. I carry it with me everywhere. I've been trying to do a lot. It's kind of made a few of my very bonded decks jealous. They think that I've replaced them with this one, and I have not, because it's very hard for me to bond with this deck, but I have bonded with it and I have done quite a few readings with it, and they came out pretty brilliant actually. So I don't think there's a difference in having the actual deck and the energy and the spirit of the deck and still getting the readings out. I will say this one has kind of a melancholy feel to it, which is very interesting. I only have one other deck that's got that melancholy feel to it, and I believe that might have been Enigma. I can't really remember. It's one of my Rider-Waite's, but yeah, so for the sake of just following up, I wanted to let you guys know this does work like a real deck. It does work just fine. It works totally normal. My aunt has said the same thing. She's not having any problems with her Modern Witch knockoff. She is bonding just fine with it. She's getting good readings out of it. One of our friends who also got a knockoff had said they're just gonna laminate it. It's not a big deal, it works just fine. So if you guys have access to a laminator and you have a knockoff deck, that's a good suggestion. I don't have access to a laminator. This is probably my favorite card in the deck. I do have a lot of favorites in this deck though, and me and my aunt spent like a whole night just going through it together and looking at our favorites, because that's one of them. Definitely the Three of Wands is one of them. I do think the other one I like is, well, I love this Hermit, and the Magician is probably one of my top favorites in this one too. Let's see if I can find her. But yeah, look at this is just such a beautiful deck. I would hate for it to go to waste while I have it, and I do still plan on getting the real one even though I have bonded with this deck. I feel like this is something I could throw in a bag. Once I get the real one, I can keep the real one at home and do real good readings with, and use this one on the go so that I don't accidentally mess up a good deck, you know what I mean? I know that I had said initially that I was going to put these on my wall, but I have kind of gotten over that and done a lot to bond with this deck in that time. So I just wanted to let you guys know it does work just fine. If you guys find yourself in a position with a knockoff, it will work for you, and you just might have to put extra effort into bonding with it. So I have been just using this for my free readings lately instead of giving people the choice to choose from all my decks like I normally do. For the free readings, I've just been using this one. That way it gets that exercise out, and I've also been doing readings for friends with this one, and they're brilliant. So I hope you guys enjoyed that quick little follow-up. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, that's cool. Thumbs down. You don't have to like my video. And why don't you tell me in the comments if you love the Lightseers, if you have the Lightseers, and if you've got a knockoff. Have you ever experienced that kind of discrepancy between the knockoff and the real one? I'm very interested to know if anyone else has had a problem with it. So I do also have an Amazon wish list for tarot decks. If you guys don't already know that, that's in the description box for you guys. So if you see a tarot deck that you really like that you want me to review, you can send that to me. Sign the gift receipt and I will plug you and your socials every time I use that deck. Or I can just shout you out if you don't want me to plug you, or if you don't want that, you can remain anonymous and just enjoy the video. And I'm gonna go because I don't know if you guys can hear, but the baby's screaming her head off. She's not happy out there for some reason. So I'm gonna go grab her, be done with this for, I think maybe this is Sunday's video. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. I hope you guys have a beautiful, wonderful day wherever you are when this video reaches you, my friends. And I can't wait to see you in the next one. Namaste.